Alright, so let's talk about a strategy that, frankly, doesn't get enough attention, especially for how simple and effective it can be for generating income. We're talking about covered calls. Now before your eyes glaze over and you click away thinking this is some complicated Wall Street thing, just hear me out. Think of it like this: you own a house, and you agree to sell it to someone for a specific price in the future, but they have to pay you a non-refundable fee right now, just for that option. If they buy it, great, you made money. If they don't, you keep the fee and you still own the house. That's essentially what a covered call is, but with stocks. You own at least 100 shares of a stock and you sell someone the right but not the obligation to buy those shares from you at a higher price by a certain date. For selling them this right, you get paid an upfront cash premium. This premium is yours to keep no matter what happens. Now for the fun part, let's put this into practice with a real-world example. For our purposes, we're going to look at a company called Constellation Energy, with the ticker symbol CEG. As of today, August 16, 2025, let's say the stock is trading at a nice round number of $322 per share. This is a solid, established company which is exactly the kind of stock you want to use for a covered call strategy. You generally want to avoid extremely volatile, speculative meme stocks because their unpredictable price swings can add unnecessary risk. Stability is your friend here. Remember, the first rule of covered calls is that you should only ever do this with a stock you wouldn't mind owning for the long term. So the very first action you need to take is to buy the underlying shares. In this case, you would log into your brokerage account and place an order to buy shares of CEG. The price is $322 per share. This is the foundational step. Here's a critical detail you need to know. In the world of options, everything operates in blocks of 100 shares. One options contract is equivalent to 100 shares of the underlying stock. This is a non-negotiable rule of the market. This means to sell one covered call contract, you must first own at least 100 shares of the stock. It's the key that unlocks the door to this entire income strategy. Using our CEG example, with the stock priced at $322 per share, you would need to invest a total of $32,200 to acquire the necessary 100 shares. It might sound like a lot of money, and it is a significant investment, but this is the asset base that is going to work for you. Think of this $32,200 not as money that is spent and gone, but as capital that is now positioned to generate a monthly return for you, much like a down payment on a rental property. Once you have purchased those 100 shares of CEG, they will appear in your brokerage account. But now, you hold the power. For every 100 shares you own, you can sell one call contract. If you had 200 shares, you could sell 2 contracts. The strategy scales perfectly. This requirement is actually a built-in safety feature. It prevents you from making overly speculative bets with money you don't have. Okay, you've bought your 100 shares of CEG. They are sitting comfortably in your brokerage account. Now it's time to make some money. The next step is to navigate to the options trading section of your brokerage platform. This is usually called the options chain, and you can access it by typing in CEG and clicking on options. Don't be intimidated by what you see next. It looks like a giant spreadsheet with lots of numbers, but we're only going to focus on a few key things. You will see 2 main sections, calls on one side and puts on the other. Since we are selling a covered call, you will focus exclusively on the call side. You will see a button that allows you to trade. You want to select sell a call, which might also be labeled as sell to open. This is a crucial distinction. We are the sellers creating the contract and collecting the premium, just like an insurance company. After you select sell call, your platform will bring up an order ticket. You'll need to specify 3 things: the number of contracts, the expiration date, and the strike price. Since you own 100 shares, you will enter 1 for the number of contracts. The next step is choosing the expiration date, and finally, you will choose the strike price. This is the price you're agreeing to sell your stock at. You want to choose a strike price higher than $322, for example, $335. Now let's talk about one of the most important choices you'll make when selling a covered call: the expiration date. When you look at the options chain, you'll see a list of available dates from as short as a few days away to as long as 2 years out. For our strategy, the sweet spot is typically between 30 and 60 days from the current date. There's a very specific reason for this. This time frame offers the best balance between receiving a decent premium upfront and the rate at which that premium's value decays, which is called theta. Think of theta as your best friend in this strategy. As an option gets closer to its expiration date, its time value melts away, which means the contract becomes less valuable. Since we sold the contract to open our position, we want it to become less valuable. The rate of this time decay accelerates significantly in the last 30 to 45 days of an option's life. By selling contracts in this 30 to 60-day window, we are positioning ourselves to benefit the most from this rapid decay. Why not sell a contract that expires next week? You could, but you'll find that the premium you collect is often quite small, and you'd have to manage the position much more frequently. On the other hand, why not sell a contract that expires a year from now? You would receive a very large premium up front, but it locks you into that position for a very long time. So for our CEG example, today being August 16, 2025, we would look at the October 17th expiration. This is about 62 days away, falling perfectly within our desired time frame. Once you have your expiration date selected, your focus shifts to the strike price and the premium you'll receive. A good rule of thumb is to aim for a premium that is at least 2% of the stock value for a 30-day period. Since we are looking at a contract that is roughly 2 months out, we should be looking for a premium of around 4%. This keeps you from selling calls for pennies and makes the strategy truly worthwhile. Let's look at the real numbers from our CEG example. With the stock at $322, our 100 shares are worth $32,200. A 4% return on this amount over 2 months would be $1,288. So, we are looking for a call option that will pay us around this amount in premium. On the options chain for the October 17th expiration, we see that the $335 strike price has a bid price of $13. The bid price is what buyers are currently willing to pay. Since one contract represents 100 shares, this means we would receive $1,300 in instant cash premium. This fits our criteria perfectly. To calculate the exact return, you divide the premium by the total cost of the shares. 1,300 divided by 32,200, which gives you 4.04%. Once you place the sell to open order for one contract of the CEG October 17th $335 call, that $1,300 is deposited into your brokerage account immediately. It's your money to keep, regardless of what the stock does next. We've just secured a fantastic 4.04% return from the option premium alone. That $1,300 is already in our account. But that's only one part of our potential profit. The second part comes from the potential appreciation of the stock itself. Remember, we bought the shares at $322, and we agreed to sell them at $335. This means that if the stock price rises above $335 by the expiration date and our shares get called away, we will make an additional profit on the shares. The difference between our sale price of $335 and our purchase price of $322 is $13 per share. Since we own 100 shares, that's an additional profit of $1,300. So, in this best-case scenario, not only do we keep the $1,300 premium we collected up front, but we also make another $1,300 from the stock appreciating in value. That's a total profit of $2,600 on our initial $32,200 investment in just over 2 months. That is an absolutely phenomenal result. To be conservative, let's say we aim for a 4% return from the premium and just a 1% appreciation in the stock price each month. Combining these gives us a target return of 5% per month. This is a more realistic and repeatable target that doesn't rely on the stock soaring every single time. Even if the stock price stays flat or goes down slightly, you still come out ahead. If CEG is trading at $320 on the expiration date, the call option will expire worthless. You keep the entire premium and your shares, then sell another covered call for the next month. So, how do we get from a 5% monthly return to a massive 60% annualized return? It's simple but powerful arithmetic. 5% per month multiplied by 12 months equals 60% per year. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds way too good to be true. And it's important to understand that this is an ideal projection. Some months you might make more, some months you might make a little less. On your $32,200 investment, a 5% return is $1,610 per month. If you achieve that every month for a year, you would generate $19,320 in income. The key to achieving this is consistency and discipline. You must treat it like a business. Every month, as your options contract nears expiration, You are analyzing the situation. If your shares get called away, you take your profits and look for the next opportunity. If the option expires worthless, you keep your shares and immediately sell a new call for the following month. As you collect these monthly premiums, your cash balance grows. You can use that cash to eventually buy another 100 shares of stock. Once you have 200 shares, you can sell 2 call contracts per month, doubling your income. Let's bring it all home and summarize why this covered call strategy is such a powerful tool for your financial arsenal. The core appeal lies in its unique combination of income generation and risk management. You are not gambling or making wild guesses about the market's direction. Instead, you are taking a stock you already own and turning it into a rental property, collecting a monthly fee from the market. Confidence comes from understanding the mechanics and starting small. Your first trade will be the most nerve-wracking, but once you see that first premium hit your account, a light bulb will go on. The safety of the strategy is built in. Your absolute worst-case scenario is being forced to sell your shares for a profit at a price you agreed to beforehand. In the world of investing, that's a pretty good deal. If the stock goes down, you are in the same position as any other long-term shareholder, but with one key difference. You have the premium in your pocket to offset some of the temporary paper loss. Ultimately, building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. Strategies that promise overnight riches often come with catastrophic risks. The covered call strategy is the opposite. It's a methodical, repeatable process for growing your wealth month by month. By aiming for a consistent 4 to 5% monthly return through a combination of premiums and appreciation, you put yourself on a realistic path toward a potential 60% annual return. It's about being the house, not the gambler. It's about taking control of your investments and making your money work for you, safely and intelligently. The journey to financial freedom starts with that first covered call. Take control, start small, and watch your wealth grow month by month.